Hi, and welcome, especially if you're a new hockey fan that discovered the sport because of the Four Nations Cup, and you're wondering, hey, how come that guy's hat's crooked? And also, why doesn't Houston have a team? That is one of the things that I want to talk about today here on Mission Control, Houston's hockey podcast. Let's talk about the Four Nations Cup, right? Because when this happened, it's like, when this was announced, it's like, okay, it's an all-star game. Who cares? Right? Look, I got to tell you, I thought the Finns were going to take it, as strange as that sounds. And I thought that because, like, all right, no one's going to play hard. No one's going to play defense. It doesn't matter that the Finns' defense is banged up. Americans have goaltending, sure, but, I mean, enough shots are going to get on them because of no defense. And this was my thought process. And this is why you should never listen to me when it's time to bet on sports. But that's not what I want to talk about regarding Four Nations Cup. I mean, yes, I wish that Matthews had not gone into the corner and McDavid not have been left alone in the slot. But, I kind of appreciate the aggression too. If it would have worked out, we wouldn't be complaining about it. But c'est la vie, that's what happened. They take it to overtime. No one got embarrassed there. And man, wasn't it fun. Especially when you saw that Canada Sweden game at first, it's like, oh my God, there's physical play here. And then, of course, the America Canada games and, the fighting and, the political backdrop to all that. And man, that was a good time. But here's what I want to talk about regarding the Four Nations Cup. Let's talk about this here article from TSN Hockey. You'll notice this last line of the tweet there. Growing concern over slow moving Four Nations tickets. And mind you, this is in the middle of January. It's not that far ahead of the tournament, right? There's also reports that Fanatics isn't moving their jerseys like they want, which that could be because of the jerseys. I mean, Canada's had better looking jerseys. I like the detail. USA is in, I hope it's not treasonous, but I don't think they've ever had a good looking jersey. That's just me, though. They ought to do something with Uncle Sam or, an eagle or, something like that, little patriot and a tricorn. I don't know, something, but just, three letters on the chest. It's like, oh man, we're the nation that invented rock and roll. Why are we not doing better than this? But here's why I want to talk about the Four Nations Cup. It's because Bettman was on the Rich Eisen show today. I'm recording this on Monday. And he said, there's no guarantee that Four Nations is coming back, which makes perfect sense, of course. We're going to have the Olympics next year, and then apparently we're on a 2-year schedule. We'll have the World Cup, which is great. We have more nations represented with World Cup of Hockey. Fantastic. But then he goes on to say something odd, which is, we're not sure what we're doing with the All-Star game. And I'm like, why are you doing anything with the All-Star game? Because look, you can't have a national tournament every year because then it's not special anymore. And I'm kind of wondering if having the World Cup in between the Olympics is enough to make it not special, enough to make it where athletes will just go, I'm going to skip it, but maybe not. But an all-star game, it's like no one cares if the Eastern Conference beats the Western Conference. At least I don't. And, data shows that you don't either. Jersey sales show that you don't either. I don't get it. Now, as it turns out, though, that Four Nations Cup, wow, we decided to care, didn't we? 16.1 are going to watch that. And I'm glad it was a hit, and everyone seemed to have a good time. I certainly enjoyed it. So we have that. Other thing I want to talk to you about, that NOLA rumor. Okay, and if you don't know what I'm talking about here, let me pull it up for you. Kevin Weeks. Kevin Weeks, I want to say ESPN. Yes, there we go. ESPN. How about that? I see his stuff and I'm like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But Kevin Weeks of ESPN reports that the NHL had a meeting with an interested group of people looking to bring an NHL expansion team to New Orleans. Yeah, I'm gonna try to. No, I'm not either. New Orleans is a toilet. Um, I don't understand why Houstonians have such affinity for New Orleans, and I don't know. Maybe look, it was clearly once a great city, but the stadium they got nowhere close to NHL potential. Let's just call this what it is. This is Bettman negotiating in public with Tillman. Tillman's balked on the price of an expansion franchise, and this is Bettman going, well, we have other interested suitors. Okay. And by the way, I am aware that there are other Houstonian groups looking to get that franchise. But Tillman's the one that's public. So he's going to be the stand in for everyone until the other guys decide to go public. All right. Nextly, let's talk about Houston Junior Aeros. Yeah, let's talk about those guys here. But there we go. This comes from Tanner Wilson of the Texas Sports Review, who was kind enough to share this information that we got some Houston Junior Aeros teams that are headed to state. That's fantastic, man. I keep meaning to get out to a Junior Aeros game. I haven't seen one since before the switch to the Junior Wild, back when the Sugarland Aerodrome was still called the Sugarland Aerodrome. But that was, I enjoyed doing that, and I've been meaning to get out. So congratulations to the youngsters on that. And yeah, they need some love, right? So let's give it to them. All right. So let's get to the main issue of today, which is, why don't we have a team? And the knee-jerk reaction is because of former Rockets owner Les Alexander. And yeah, but let's be a little bit more nuanced on that, shall we? So I want to show you a map here. There it is. This is the World Hockey Association, back when the Aeros were in it. Now, the World Hockey Association is going to go under around 78. And the 4 teams from the WHA that are going to be accepted into an NHL merger are Winnipeg, Edmonton, Quebec. Oh no. Hartford. Okay. So those 4 teams are going to make it into a merger. And the stated reason that I've heard that I can't back up anywhere is because of geography. So here is by the way, this map here comes from billsportsmaps.com. This comes from Iceletics. If you see the NHL makeup of the time, the teams that they have there are the easiest teams for travel costs, which is a big deal to a sports league. And if you're looking at that going, well, wait, Savage, what about Los Angeles and Vancouver? Dude, I'm sympathetic. I'm just telling you that, it is a problem to travel out to those areas. Houston will just be adding another issue. And the attendance isn't there to justify such a thing, right? So the Aeros of the WHA, they have average attendance. The number I got off of Hockey DB was about 7,300. That's about average for the league at the time, but their attendance is wonky. Like at different times, there'll be a 14-team league. One year they have their 11th out of 14th in attendance, and that's following a title. They win a title. The next year, they're 11 out of 14 teams in attendance. And then the following year, where they repeat the title run, they're 3rd out of 14. So success doesn't match up with the attendance numbers, not AB anyway. So at any rate, The WHA Aeros are not included in the merger. Now, the ownership of the WHA Aeros, they are going to attempt to buy the Colorado Rockies, move them down to Houston. That doesn't work. Instead, the owner of the Rockies apparently has a better offer. He sells to a New Jersey ownership group. They're the Devils now. All right. But that is going to end hockey in Houston until the 90s. And you're thinking, okay, this is where we start talking about the AHL Aeros. It's not, because in 1993, as you're aware, these guys here moved down to Texas. The Minnesota North Stars become the Dallas Stars, but they're looking at Houston first. And the reason that they don't get into Houston is because there's difficulties in sharing the stadium. Tell me if that doesn't sound familiar. I don't know who is holding the lease at the time, and I don't have that info, but that's the stated reason I was able to find. Fast forward to the following year. How do you not love that aesthetic? These are the Houston Aeros of the International Hockey League that arrive in 1994, and they play at what is known as the Summit at first. That name will change to the Compact Center throughout their tenure. And anyway, we're not going to get into the history too much because I have a later episode for the history, but the relevant part, the why don't we have a team part, 1997, the owner of these Houston Aeros here, Chuck Watson, is going to make a bid for an NHL expansion franchise with his partner, Bob McNair, which is a name that you probably recognize as the original owner of the Houston Texans of the NFL. That gets stopped for reasons I don't understand. But anyway, that's what happens in 97. 98, the Rockets owner, Les Alexander, is going to attempt to make a bid for the Edmonton Oilers. And let's be honest, how cool would it be for there to be another Houston Oilers? But how legitimate that offer is, that's debatable. It seems like Edmonton was attempting to play Houston in a deal with the city to get their stadium deal on track. There was no real reason to take this seriously, but this is what people point to as the, oh no, let's try to get a team. Hang on, I want to address that. Now, Chuck Watson, the Aeros owner of the time, he owns the lease to the Compact Center. Again, Summit Compact Center. He holds the lease. And Watson doesn't want his tenant, the Rockets, to leave. He offers Edmonton $35 million to keep the team. But was there any danger of Edmonton moving to Houston? It's doubtful. But this is where we go, well, no, let's try to get a team. Hold on, I'm gonna address that, right? So, 2001, the IHL is having financial difficulties, and the Aeros move to the American Hockey League, which means they have a parent club. They are an affiliate of the Minnesota Wild. All right. Fast forward a little bit, 2003, Les Alexander, Aeros owner, tries again to get himself an NHL franchise. I don't remember hearing about this. I just found it when doing research for this. He tried to get the Penguins. I can't find anything about it other than let's try to get the Penguins. But okay, I can't imagine a scenario where the Penguins leave Pittsburgh, but okay. All right, now here's the part that I want us to get to, which is 2003. The city sells the lease to Compact Center to Lakewood Church, and it remains Lakewood Church. If you've been driving by it on 59, oh, that's a huge freaking mega church. Well, it was a sports stadium first. I saw lots of I saw Ozzy there, but whatever. So anyway, because the city built a new arena for Les Alexander, who, remember, Les Alexander is the one sports owner that's ever bought a title to the city of Houston. The Houston Rockets won back-to-back NBA championships, and that gets him tremendous sway. And the Harris County Houston Sports Authority is going to grant Les Alexander the lease to the Compaq Center. I'm sorry, the Toyota Center. And that's the only place that the Aeros have to play now, is the Toyota Center. So with that, all right. Now keep in mind, the Aeros were trying to hold the Rockets to a deal and were blocking Les's attempts to get an NHL franchise. Les is now going to go for payback. All right. So over the years, Les Alexander is going to raise the rent, on the Aeros. It's already the highest rent in the American Hockey League. And at this point, Chuck Watson says, all right, I'm out. And he's going to wind up selling the team to Minnesota Sports Entertainment. Basically, he sells the team to the Wild. And then when the next lease is up for renewal, Les raises the rent 500%. And we should mention, one of the stated reasons for the Toyota Center raising their rates on the Aeros and booting them out is they wanted more room for concerts and special events that didn't materialize. At least there wasn't an appreciable increase in the number of concerts and special events following the absence of the Aeros. And the Wild does what you would expect them, and who can blame them? They moved the team to Iowa, where they've been ever since. And when we compare attendance from Iowa to the AHL version of the Houston Aeros, it's a little bit better in Iowa, so who can blame them? Now, here's what I want us to get out of that, though, as I pull up the story here. And the thingy spins on my Google as I pull up the story for you, because there are pertinent parts I want to read to you. All right, so first of all, you'll notice attendance. For the AHL version of the Aeros, they were never in the bottom half of the league. They were always in the top half of the league, with the exception of the first year in the AHL. So here's the part I want us to get to. We investigated other venues, but there are none that are hockey ready at this time as of today. Well, yeah, because Harris County Houston Sports Authority short-sightedly gave up the Compaq Center to a megachurch. All right. So why don't we have a team? Where would they play? Can you think of another slab of ice in the city of Houston? It's not attendance. It's not fan support. Look, all you got to do is fill the building and sell some merch, right? And we're the fourth largest city in the nation. Yeah, we're always going to be second fiddle to National Football League, of course. But you're telling me the fourth largest city in the country can't fill the building 40-something times a year and sell merch? Come on. Of course we can. All right. So, anyway, this gets us to this sad episode here, where the Aeros move to Des Moines, Iowa, where they remain. So, where would a team play? Sure, there's attempts to do other things, to build other surfaces, and maybe that's going to happen now. But it hasn't happened yet. And why not? Well, I want to show you a quote here. This is from Gary Bettman in a 2017 Associated Press interview, where he says of Houston, It's the fourth largest city in the United States, which is interesting, but there hasn't ever been any recent interest because the former owner, Les Alexander, controlled the arena and never wanted a hockey team unless he owned it. But he was never prepared to acquire one. He had no interest in having a hockey team owned by someone else come into his arena, so there was never an opportunity to go there. So why do I place the majority of the blame at Les Alexander's feet? Because he held the city hostage, that's why. I mean, sure, Harris County Houston Sports Authority should have never sold the Compact Center. I feel like it should be reverted to the city as eminent domain. And that's not to poop on Lakewood Church attendees. I'm a man of faith myself. I'm not trying to poop on your faith. But, you can worship anywhere. There's only 2 places in the entire city where a pro hockey team can play, and you're in one of them. And that deal shouldn't have been made. I'm sorry. So, okay. There's nowhere else to play. It's why we don't have a team. Because Harris County Houston Sports Authority gave the lease to the arena to the owner of the basketball team. So if it's not Tillman, it's got to be somebody who has an arena. And I don't see any other arenas. All right. So at any rate, hopefully that answers your question about why we don't have a team. All right. So with that, other things I want to talk to you about today. Actually, there's only one more thing I want to talk to you about today, and that's Hockey Day in Houston. I cannot overstress what a good time this was. Had 4,000 people last year at St. Arnold's. Go to hockeydayinhouston.com. Follow me on socials. If you're following me on socials, I retweet everything they put out. So, but man, it's a great day of community. It's a great day for, Houston is a hockey town, or it could be if we put the work in. So anyway, if you see me there, and I'm pretty easy to spot, the camera only goes up to here, but I'm kind of a larger man. And there's only so many people there with long flowing silver manes. It is not stringy, awkward white hair. It's a long silver mane. All right. So yeah, come say hi, I will have my phone there. I'll be taking some video and maybe talking to some people. I don't want to get too obnoxious about it, but I'm going to try not to bother you, but you don't have to worry about bothering me. You can't. So I'll have the missus there. I might have the kid there. I don't know. And it'll be a good time for everyone. So come on out and celebrate hockey in Houston. Teach your friends the game and tell them what those blue lines are for.